drive it?
I cannot drive it, definitely not. Platform versus publisher, that is the discussion.
Why?
Good question.
As well, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors.
I'm at a fundraiser this weekend. It's the WWF fundraiser. I was told it was the World Wrestling Federation fundraiser. It's the World Wildlife Fund fundraiser. Are you doing something for this?
We also have
What are you doing?
I'm doing the 1 kilometer.
Do we do a vlog today?
No.
You can't see anything in there, can you?
On your marks, get set.
Good job! Good work! Good running.
Do you know what the difference is between a platform and a publisher? Do you care?
No.
In order to understand the difference between publisher and platform, we need to talk about 2 laws and 2 provisions in particular. The CDA, the Communications Decency Act, and the DMCA, which is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Go down. Go for it. See you later, sucker. Woo! Oh, God. All right, I'm back in this retired fire truck because it's the quietest spot I'm going to get for the rest of the day, so let's break this down. The CDA, the Communications Decency Act, was a law that came into effect in 1996 under the Clinton administration. It was a law that was intended to regulate the bad stuff that was going on the internet, because at this point in time, the internet was in its infancy stages. It opened up a whole new realm, quite literally, of criminal activity. So the Communications Decency Act intended to regulate the bad stuff that was now being performed in the digital world. But because the internet was in its infancy stages, people were afraid that the Communications Decency Act was going to stifle the growth of the internet, in particular by making platforms responsible for the content that was generated by their users. And that is where we get into Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which is immunity that is provided to online service providers, OSPs, or internet service providers, ISPs. The DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, was passed around the same time, and this too is intended to regulate a problem which was now internet copyright infringement. Copyright infringement prior to the advent of the internet had a whole different form to it. Once the internet was created, it took on a whole new digital, tangible realm. And how do you prevent, regulate, and remedy online copyright infringement? Well, that's what the DMCA was intending to respond to. But alas, there were the same concerns over the DMCA and how it might stifle internet growth by making platforms responsible for the copyright infringement of their users. And so under the DMCA, you don't have immunity provisions, but you have something that are referred to as safe harbor provisions, which are provisions to the effect that the platforms are not going to be held liable for the copyright infringement of their users under certain conditions. And this is what brings us to the critical, crucial, and essential distinction between a publisher and a platform. The distinction is effectively the same thing as the bookstore that sells the book versus the person that writes and publishes the book. Under the normal run of things, a bookstore is not going to be and ought not be held liable for the defamatory statements in a book that is sold at that bookstore. The bookstore is the platform, the book is the publisher. And so as not to stifle, inhibit, or cripple the growth of the internet, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act provided immunity to platforms for the content uploaded by their users onto those platforms that might contravene the law. Same thing for the safe harbor provisions under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Platforms would not be held liable for the copyright infringement of their users if they met certain criteria. And that would allow online service providers and internet service providers to provide their services to allow for the growth of the internet, creativity, communications, etc., without the fear of being held liable for the wrongdoings of their users. All right, I'm starting to sweat like a pig in here. We might have to carry this on somewhere else, so be right back. Oh yeah, all right, nothing better than a quiet spot under a tree. All right, there is a ton of case law as to when a platform loses its immunity status under the CDA or its safe harbor under the DMCA. Typically, a platform will lose its immunity under the Communications Decency Act when it no longer acts as an impartial platform. For example, if it pays its users to upload the content onto the platform. For example, if it edits the content uploaded by its users on its platform. The idea being that once the platform stops being a neutral sort of town square and actually starts acting like a book publisher or a newspaper, it loses its immunity status and can be held liable for the content on the platform. Under the DMCA, if a platform does not employ certain measures, protective measures, to ensure that copyrighted material is not uploaded, or when it is, that it is promptly removed when ordered to do so, then the platform can lose its safe harbor status under the DMCA and be held liable for those damages. And there is case law illustrating when a platform loses its safe harbor protection under the DMCA and can be held liable for the copyright infringement of its users. In one such example, what is this beautiful little animal here? Look at this. Oh. Get off of me! Oh. Under one such example, a platform did not enforce its repeat offender policy, and it had users that were repeatedly offending in that they were uploading copyrighted material, and the platform, by not enforcing their repeat offender policy by actually kicking the user off when they break copyright laws too often, itself became liable for the copyright infringement. Alright, where are we going with all of this? Platform versus publisher?
I think you all know.
For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I recently had a video removed from YouTube on the basis that it breached community guidelines. This was the same video that had been reviewed prior to and was allowed to remain on the platform, and in my humble opinion contained nothing that could remotely conceivably in any realm of the universe be deemed to violate community guidelines. And I'm not going to turn my channel into a complaining channel about this. It is what it is. It's the nature of the platform. But that causes us to question, what is the nature of the platform? Is YouTube a platform, a neutral, impartial, open town square, or is it a publisher? Does it remove content on the basis of equal, uniform, and consistent application of the rules? Or does it editorialize in terms of what content it removes versus what content it doesn't? And if it does editorialize, or if it does act as something of an editor or employ some discretionary measures in terms of deciding what to remove and what it doesn't remove, does it lose its protected status as a platform and potentially incur its responsibility as a publisher? That is the question. Expecting an answer? So that is what brings us here today, or more accurately and quite literally what brought us here today was a kids fundraising race for the WWF. And although this kids fundraising race is over, I'm pretty sure you can still donate for anybody who wants to. I'll put a link to the link where you can donate and pin it in the comments section below, so go ahead and feel free to support a worthwhile cause. But that is where the discussion is going to go. Are these platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, are they publishers or are they platforms? And if they purport to be platforms, are they losing their protective status in the manner in which they are applying their rules seemingly randomly or potentially in a manner that is, call it political for lack of a better word, but you know what I mean. And the fundamental problem being that YouTube cannot suck and blow at the same time. It cannot argue that it is a platform and benefit from immunity under the CDA while removing content in a manner that might be more akin to the conduct of an editor as opposed to a neutral town square platform. We'll see where this goes. This is definitely the beginning of the discussion and not the end, but at the very least, now you know your vlog. Peace out. Boom! There is nothing more beautiful than a quiet spot under a big oak tree, although I don't know if this is an oak tree.
Yes, sir.
People can continue to donate even after this fun run is over, correct?
That's correct.
And you will have authorized me or instructed me how to put the link in the comment section below.
That's correct.
WWF is the World Wrestling Federation, correct? Because that's all I support these days.
That is not correct.